All right, let's do this. We are going to perform a little resume surgery today. We're going to take a resume that kind of whispers junior developer and completely transform it into one that just screams senior architect. And here's the crazy part. We're going to do it without changing a single thing about your actual real-world experience. It is all about the framing.
You've got 6 seconds. Seriously, that's about how long a recruiter or a hiring manager is going to look at your resume before it either gets a closer look or gets tossed in the no pile. In just those 6 seconds, you have to prove you're not just another developer. You're a strategic thinker, a problem solver. The stakes really could not be higher.
So here's the big question you have to ask yourself right now. Even with all your years of experience, is your resume accidentally making you look junior? I mean, are you getting passed over for roles you know you're qualified for simply because of how you're framing your work?
Now, if you're sitting there thinking, nah, that's not me, check this out. After reviewing hundreds and hundreds of resumes from senior engineers, the author's conclusion was just staggering. 90% of them are basically just junior resumes with more years tacked on. This is a massive industry-wide problem.
And you know, the root of this entire problem, it really boils down to one fundamental mistake. You're listing your tasks instead of showcasing your impact. You're writing a history of what you did, day to day, when you should be writing a marketing document about the value you actually created.
This slide right here shows that critical shift in perspective. Are you a commodity over on the left, just a list of tools, a pair of hands to type code, or are you an architect on the right, someone who solves real business problems, who mitigates risk and creates actual value? Your resume's one and only job is to move you from that left column straight over to the right.
So let's begin the surgery. Phase 1 is all about your vocabulary. We are going on a search and destroy mission for passive language. These are the red flag words that instantly, and I mean instantly, downgrade how senior you appear.
Okay, first on our hit list, participated in. When you write this, you might be thinking you're showing you're a team player, right? But what the hiring manager actually hears is that you were a passenger, not the driver. You were just there.
The fix is simple. You swap that passive language out for power verbs. You didn't just participate, you spearheaded the initiative. You orchestrated the collaboration. You designed the solution from the ground up. These words, they signal true ownership.
And next up is the word helped. Oh man, this one sounds so harmless, but it is another seniority killer. Architects and senior engineers, they don't just help. That language frames you as a subordinate, like an assistant who's just waiting for instructions.
So how do you fix it? You reframe it. You didn't just help, you partnered with product to define requirements. You enabled the mobile team by building a critical API they needed. You unblocked progress for the entire team. And this isn't just about the word help, it's a whole mindset. Hunt down other weak phrases like responsible for or vague words like various and replace them with active, specific language.
All right, with all that passive language eliminated, we can move to the heart of the surgery, phase 2. This is where we rewrite your experience section, transforming every single bullet point from a simple task into a powerful story of impact.
Okay, look at this transformation in action. The before version on the left, that's what 90% of people write. It's a fact, sure, but it tells the recruiter absolutely nothing about the why. The after version, though, now that tells a story. It adds high stakes, a critical banking application, and it quantifies a huge business win, reducing costs by 35%.
Let's just break down why this is so much more powerful. The new version, it hits on what we call the golden signals of seniority. It shows you can mitigate risk, that you build resilient systems, and that you actually understand the financial side of technology, FinOps. You're not just a coder anymore, you're a business partner.
Let's do another one. Worked with databases. I mean, what does that even mean? It's so vague. But look at the after. It quantifies the improvement, 50%. It signals massive scale, a 3 TB ledger. And it highlights a huge business win, enabling 2x daily volume with existing hardware.
So why does this one win? Well, it's specific and it's business-focused. That 3 TB ledger detail, it proves you can handle real-world, serious scale. And that phrase, with existing hardware, is just music to a hiring manager's ears. It means you save the company a ton of money on new equipment. That right there is pure architect-level thinking.
Now for the final phase of our surgery, fixing that skills section. This is the other major area where senior engineers just accidentally sabotage their own credibility. Does this look familiar? I call this the keyword dumpster fire. I get it, the intention is to show you're versatile,
But the result is the exact opposite. It makes you look like a jack of all trades and a master of absolutely none. Come on, nobody is an expert in all of these things.
The solution is this beautiful tiered layout. You're being honest about your actual skill level, but more importantly, you are strategically guiding the interviewer. You are literally telling them, hey, ask me deep, hard questions about Java and AWS because that's my core expertise. It just shows so much confidence and self-awareness.
And one last tip for this section, please remember the JIRA rule. If a tool takes you an afternoon to learn, it is not a skill. It's a utility. Listing things like JIRA or Slack on a senior resume just signals that you're padding it for keywords. It's a major red flag.
So, after all this work, banning the passive words, rewriting for impact, cleaning up your skills, what's the actual payoff? Why does any of this really matter?
This, $60,000 or more. The source material shows a real-life case where these changes for the exact same person doing the exact same work resulted in a salary range that was over $60,000 higher. Framing isn't just a detail, people. It's a financial strategy.
So to help you actually achieve this yourself, I'm giving you a piece of homework. It's this incredibly powerful mental model you can apply to every single line of your resume, and it's called the So What test.
Here's how it works. You read a bullet point, something like wrote unit tests. Then you ask, so what? Well, it keeps the code safe. Okay, so what? It stops bugs from hitting production. So what? It allows us to deploy way more often without being afraid. That is your new bullet point. You just keep digging and asking, so what? Until you hit real business value.
Look, in the end, your resume tells a story. It's the first and sometimes the only story a company will ever hear about you. So after seeing all this, I want you to take another look at your own resume. Is it telling the story of a task doer, or is it telling the story of an architect who creates undeniable, massive impact? What story is yours telling?